Okay, so tuples in Rust can be really helpful whenever you want to kind of group values of different data types together. Therefore, in this video, we are going to quickly take a look at tuples in Rust. So let's just get started. Okay, so let's just first clarify the question, what even is a tuple in Rust? Let's just create a quick example right here, and let's just create a struct packet, and then we'll have two struct fields. The first one is called source, and this will be of type IPv4 address, and then also a U16, and then we will also have a destination, which will be used DST as an abbreviation right here. And there we go, this is a tuple. Now generally tuples in Rust let us group together values of different data types. Or as Rust explained them, they are finite heterogeneous sequence of values, which basically simply means that the number of values they can store is fixed. The elements of the tuple may have a different type, and we can access the elements in the tuple using the index, so the elements of a tuple do not have really a name. And for this example right here, this struct just represents a network packet, but instead of really having 4 separate fields, we use 2 tuples here. And because the tuple IPv4 address and U16 implements copy clone hash equals and partial equal, we can also derive those traits automatically for the struct packet, which we will do in a minute. But generally all the fields in the struct need to implement the required traits such that the struct can really derive them. And to be honest, this right here is not 100% correct representation of a packet, but more like a flow, but that's just fine for now. So let's just define the derive right here, and here we'll use clone, copy, debug, hash, equal, and partial. Alright, and then back in our main function, we will declare just a vector of 5 element tuples, and each tuple is one raw capture record, and the types really are automatically inferred here. So what we can say is just let packets is equal to, and then we will declare a new vector. And right here we will have a 5 element tuple, and here we will just use some random IP address, and then we will also have the source port. So the first one is the source IP, second one is the source port, then we have the destination IP, which will also be random, and the destination port, and then we'll also define the size right here, so kind of the packet size. And we will actually copy this and then paste it in 4 more times. Now we will change the IP right here to be 20, then we will have 10 again, 10, and then 20 as well. The port can stay the same right here, but for this second element, we will just use this source port. And for the last element, we will also use this source port. Destination IP will be the same, but the port will be different. So we will just say 443, and then here as well 443. And then we will also adjust just the size right here. So we'll have some mock data to work with. Okay, so let's just create a hash map. So what we'll say is just let mud and then flows, and this will be of type HashMap. And then we will use packet and then a vector of U64. And then we will just initialize it with HashMap and then new. Now it will become really clear in a minute what we will actually accomplish or try to do with these packets and this flow HashMap. But generally what we try to do is just to calculate the sizes of the different packets for our different IP addresses. And you might wonder like 2 things. How can we actually define the packet as a key right here? And this just works because our tuple fields actually implement hash and the equal traits. And we use the vector U64 right here, which just holds the byte sizes of every individual packet for a given flow. And you might wonder, why do we actually store a whole vector of sizes? So this represents a size vector instead of just having a running total. Now in this video I wanted to show you also the OR default with a vec, and then how we can sum them later. Now in real code and a real aggregator, you'd possibly just store an accumulated byte count directly, but just for demonstration purposes we are going to use this right here. Alright, and with that out of the way, let's just destructure our 5 element tuple directly in a for loop. So we can actually say something like this: in and then packets. And right here we will use source IP, source port, then the destination IP, the destination port, and the size, right? And we are borrowing the packets instead of just consuming it because we do not really want to take ownership right here. So the packets vec remains alive after the loop ends. All right, now in here we are then trying to pass the string slice into an actual IP4 address, and then we are going to try to bundle it with the port into a new 2-element tuple. So we can just say let source, and then we will say source IP dot parse, and then we will say something weird like this, and then we will say unwrap, and then we will use source port. Now because we are looping over the borrowed packets right here, every binding we get is a reference. So we kind of have to dereference it right here. And obviously please handle the error right here and don't just unwrap it, because this is just a demo. It's just fine for now. And we will actually do the same thing with the destination. So we'll say destination IP and then the destination port as well. Now the syntax might look a bit wild, but this is the turbofish syntax. It just tries to convert the string into an actual IP4 address. All right, and then we can declare the packet right here, and we are going to leverage the packet struct finally. And right here we are just going to define source and destination. All right, quite cool. We are building our packet struct from the 2 tuples we just made. Now we could also access the individual elements in the tuple using the index. So for instance, we could say packet.source.0 to access the IPv4 address inside of our source tuple, or we would just say 1 to access the source port. This is just for your information that this is actually possible as well. And then what we're going to do is we are going to group the packet sizes by their flow identifier. So we can just say flows.entry and then packet and then or default, right? So if this packet key is not in the map yet, or default just gives us a new empty vec. And then we are going to say push, and then we're going to dereference the size right here. And then we basically filled in our hash map. Now what we could do is we could iterate over these flows. So what we could say is just packet and then sizes in and then flows. So we are iterating over the hash map, and this basically gives us the key and the value pairs as tuples. And then we can kind of use some nested destructuring. So what we could say is really something like this. So we say source IP, source port, and then we'll also have the destination IP and the destination port is equal to, and then we will say packet source and packet destination. Now this is this nested destructuring, and because packet.source and packet.destination is a tuple, we can kind of destructure it like this, right? And then we are just going to have a total which will be of type U64, and then we will just say sizes.iter.sum. Quite simple. And then we can just print line something. For instance, we could use this right here. Then we will say source IP, source port, destination IP, destination port, then sizes.leng, but then also the total. Okay, and this is basically all we had to do. And we've now successfully used tuples in this small use case right here. So let's just run this project by just hitting cargo run. And what we'll see is actually the IP and the port and the destination IP and port, then the number of packets, and then also the accumulated sum of the bytes for all of the packets in this kind of route. Hopefully you now understand what tuples in Rust really are and how you can actually use them. Now if you want to learn what closures in Rust are, feel free to check out this video right here. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, have a lovely day, and bye bye.